Oh, I'm live. Just sent a link out. Let's see how many people get this. Gonna wait a little bit and see who shows up. Cool. I haven't done this before really, and I'm gearing up to do 2 live Ask Me Anything videos for Delia Day for my book, Bound to Kill: The Untold Story of Delia Day. And so I decided to, do a live and talk about a Murder Pop article that I found super interesting. So I have like a bunch of notes and stuff, and it's going to be cool. I'm excited. Just trying to figure this out. But yeah, I want to say, speaking of Delia Day, I want to say, if you don't know who Delia Day is, or you don't know anything about, hi, what's up? If you don't know anything about the untold story of Delia Day, click the first link in the description. So that will give you the overview of the story and my book and everything. How's it going? First one here. This video, I decided to kind of do as like a trial run. My Thursday's good. I usually work overnight, so I got up at like 2 p.m., which is like my normal schedule. So went and got some pizza and then walked the dog, and then I like went through a bunch of notes and stuff for this live. So yeah. Hi to everyone else. I work at a number of venues. Hi, what's up? How are you guys? Like in Atlanta, different clubs. What was I saying? How many of you are here from the Murder PM link? I'm curious. I'm curious how you guys are seeing this. Like if it just showed up randomly on your Facebook homepage, or if you got a notification or saw the Murder PM email. What videos am I currently working on? Okay. Oh my God. I have mentioned Gary Michael Heidnik. Like this, he was the person I wanted to do like another 2-hour documentary on after the keys. And I've started that, and it has been like, I filmed like a half hour of it, and then I ended up moving, and like my hair grew longer, and I like a couple months went by, so I was like, shit, I need to like refilm this, and it's just taken me forever, but I am working on that, and especially because like my book's done, so I have so much more time. I've uploaded like a bunch of videos just in the last month, so it's nice. But yeah, Gary Michael Heidnik, and then I want to do Gary Michael Hilton. I want to do like a Gary series. You know what I mean? YouTube notification? Okay, cool. Suck it. I thought you were telling me to that's your username. Okay. I was like, hi, nice to meet you. Poland. Oh, cool. That's awesome. I've always wanted to go to Poland. I was born in Amberg, Germany. My family's military, and I really just love it over there. I would love to go to Poland. There was this Polish exchange student when I was in film school that I got to be friends with, and she made the best food. Like, it was awesome. Oh, cool. From the email link, Avery. Got it. Awesome. Because of Israel Keys. Oh, okay. So tomorrow at noon. Oh, you assumed I was from Washington? I grew up all over. My family's from Georgia and New York. but I mostly like when I was 18, I came back here for university. So yeah, I've just been in Atlanta. I lived in Vegas for like 3 years, but then COVID happened, so like I moved back. But I I want to go to Washington. It really looks like a beautiful state. You guys also have like a ton of serial killers, um, which is horrifying. But I think that's more of like a stigma of Washington now. Maybe I think it's probably gone down. But hi, Milkcake, Mr. Milkcake. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It was like 6 months. It took me 6 months to do the Israel Keys video, so it was crazy. But I want to get onto this topic because this is so interesting to me, and it does tie into key. It ties into every serial killer, every violent criminal out there. Um, or I think also just people with personality disorders and like certain behavioral characteristics that are like considered to be sociopathic, psychopathic, like all of that, like bad impulse control. Um, oh, the weather. I wonder. Sorry, I'm totally changing subjects, but I don't know about the weather in Washington. Is always seems to me to be kind of like gray, maybe rainy, kind of cold. But I like that. Like that's more calming to me. Washington seems beautiful, but I was gonna say there's like a lot of forests, and it made me think of Gary Michael Hilton, who is from Atlanta. I have a script done on him. It's just like who knows when I'm gonna like film that. That's another like 2 hour video. Um, and he's called the National Forest serial killer. And I wonder if that might be part of the Washington thing, you know? I don't know. I would love to go to every single state. I've only been to like 6 of them. Hi, Pat. Pat Choco. Okay, now that more people here, I want to say again that if you don't know about my book or Delia Day, go check out the first link in the description, and that'll tell you about the story and who she is and like the whole case. And yeah, buy my book, help support me so I can get the word out about the story. And I really want to make a docu series about the case. And yeah, that's a whole other topic. Maybe I'll talk about that at the end. But yeah, so there's this study that was done in Sweden. Hi, Pat and Green. But does Georgia? Oh yeah, Georgia. There's a decent amount. Um, that actually Hilton killed one of the people that he murdered was on a mountain. It's like known for a bunch of trails. Like I think states near the Appalachian Trail is like very forested. And there's this mountain, and it's literally called Blood Mountain. So a little on the nose, but super sad story. Here's a weird one. He really, I mean, who doesn't love dogs? But it's this like stereotype that serial killers don't like animals, and this specific serial killer loved animals. And part of his plea deal, um, he was extradited to Florida. Um, and part of his plea bargain to confession, he's on death row now, was to make sure that his dog was going to get sent to a good home. And I've like never heard of a serial killer making a deal like that. I thought it was kind of weird. Oh, thank you so much, Pat. I am broke too. Oh, I'm sorry I had a vehicle issue. That sucks. It really does. Hopefully it's not too bad, like it wasn't a car accident or anything. Okay, so you can order the book by going to www.murderpm.com and then go to subscribe. So if you subscribe to Murder PM, you get the ebook when it's all said and done. And there is a 15% discount link. It's the second link in the description of this video. So go click that. And yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Dogs are better than people, 100%. Maybe, oh, he's sleeping over there. Maybe I can get my dog to come over. Dennis Nielsen did. He named his dog Bleep. That's such a cute name. How did I get into true crime? So I've always been into true crime. My upbringing was like a bit unique. And I think traveling a lot, like I lived in the Middle East. I was born in Germany, but I don't know, you just like seeing okay, so like for example, I lived in Egypt as a kid, and I one of my like distinctive memories of being in Egypt was driving by like right off the Nile and the Corniche, there's like housing, and you know, like any country, there's like a discrepancy between like the slums or whatever and like middle class, upper class. So we were going by this neighborhood that was much poorer, where more like locals lived, and uh, there was this runoff from the Nile, and there was like a dead, bloated horse floating in it. And this little kid was barefoot, and he was like climbing onto the horse. We were like stuck in traffic for like a good couple minutes. So I saw this, but he like climbed on it and was using it as like a diving board to like jump off of it into the water. So actually, I really want to do a video about an Egyptian serial killer. But yeah, I was, I think, I don't know why I got into true crime. I don't know why that story popped in my head. I think it was just like seeing the, um, actually, I really love this channel, but seeing the soft white underbelly of society. I also love movies. I am a huge film buff. I mean, I studied, my degrees are in film and journalism, and I really feel like movies did play a big role. Probably like there was just so many like true crime movies that I watched growing up. I think one that I really thought was interesting was Murder by Numbers. You guys remember that with Sandra Bullock and oh my God, Ryan Gosling when he was like a little, oh my God, he was so young in that. I should rewatch that. It's been a really long time. You know what? I think would be cool. What is that? Is it Twitch or something? I don't know. It would be so cool to do that and have like serial killer movie watch parties or something. Glad you didn't have an accident. I love Star Wars. There's just it's a constant thing with cars for sure, especially if it's manual. I don't know why I'm saying that like I know anything about cars. like um so when I was in Germany, the pig house in Frankfurt. Okay, so when I was in Germany, I lived there as a kid for a little bit, and or as a baby, and then I've gone back to visit a bunch of times, mostly in Bavaria, um, Frankfurt, Munich, Garmisch-Partenkirchen, to like go skiing and stuff. So I haven't really, and that was like family trips. So I haven't really had the experience of like as an adult on my own venturing into Germany, like even going, I've never even been to Berlin, you know, um, just more of the Bavarian side, which if anyone's not familiar, it's like the south part of Germany. And then Berlin, it's like, I feel like it'd be a cool place to go. I wonder like what are, if there's still like heavy remnants of having like East and West Germany, because Berlin became like a mix of them when the wall fell. And yeah, I feel like, I don't know, I'd like to go to Berlin. But yeah, I'll have to go to the pig house for sure. um, if we can ever get our music and band stuff going, it would be cool to like tour. Thank you so much, Cement Shoes. I really appreciate that. Thank you for subscribing. Seriously, it helps so much. It'll make it so that this can be my full-time job, and which, you know, I love doing this. So a follow-up on Justin Moan. So I yes, but it'll most likely go on the article because they censored the first video. So there are some topics that I'm gonna start doing like exclusive videos for Murder PM. And the Justin Moan video is one. There's an Israel Keys video coming out on YouTube tomorrow, but if you are a subscriber, it came out on Wednesday. So I am in a band, but not like a traditional band. Like, it's my husband and my music project. We met because I answered a band ad, you know? So we do have some stuff out. I'm gonna post a music video on my channel at some point, hopefully. But YouTube's weird about like copyright, and I have to prove that it's my own song. But I recently posted one on, actually, I should post this to Murder PM. But yeah, I love music. Oh, you're a guitar teacher. That's so cool. I love guitar. Mostly I just play guitar and sing. I write songs too, but I haven't put any of my own stuff out. Just our combined stuff.
Hey, will you tell us about your...
Hold on a sec.
Just throw it to me.
Here.
Make more coffee.
Hey, Hunter. Come here. Buddy. I'm going to see if my dog will come over and say hi. I play guitar. Electric and acoustic, of course. Mostly I play, I have a really nice jazz master that is super comfortable to play. I really like the body of it and the weight and everything. But it's been a minute. I feel like working on the book, like I just kind of fell out of practicing, and like I really need to get back into it. But yeah. Oh, cool. Fuck yeah. You're a drummer. Thank you so much, Green. I really appreciate that. Can I like heart this and like, okay, cool. I want to hear your music. You should send it. I would love to hear it. I need to learn bass too. I feel like it's just par for the course. I mean, I have one over there. Idaho. Okay. Hi, JD. Nice to see you. So I have so many issues. Like, I actually, the Idaho 4, I'm assuming you're talking about Brian Koberger, right? Like, I didn't miss another Idaho 4. So I actually have a video on him that's like an hour long that I pretty much almost finished, but there were a couple things that I needed to fix, and then I just never put it out. There are like a number of videos that I filmed and then haven't edited, or you know what I mean? Like, I stopped, maybe this is too personal. I'm supposed to be like reading this article, but I stopped drinking like almost 6 months ago, and so I've been a lot more consistent, I think. But yeah, I love PRSs. I really want one. Um, we used to have one and ended up selling it when we moved to Vegas. We lived there for like 3 years. I always love the inlay. Like PRS has such, you know what I mean? It's just so beautiful. I love it. Um, yeah, and I always feel like um, it just is so like playable. I really want one. I really want an olive green guitar, like a nice Strat. And oh my God, what is it with that color? They're just so like pricey. It's nuts. It's like my favorite color, of course. Um, thank you. I yeah, I feel so much better. But yeah. So this right, like what is it with the like you want a green guitar? Is that what you mean, Avery? And I really don't know what it is about that color. Like, yeah. Like it can't be that rare. Like I'm like, is that stupid? What is it like? I don't get it. Um, we were talking about starting uh well, this is not gonna be as much me, but my husband's getting into pedal building and like got a soldering kit and stuff. And oh my God. This, I don't know why, this is so dumb, but I'm like obsessed with this little contraption for like soldering stuff. It's just so silly. I don't know why. I love it. I just want one to like put nothing in. Like it's just adorable. Is that weird? I don't know. I'm weird. But yeah, like working on stuff. That is way more his thing. He's also way more into gear than I am. I have, yeah, like one pedal. I don't know. I really love messing with sounds and stuff. I just still feel like, buddy, come here.
Hey, just to like touch on what you were saying, the three most common colors for guitar that are sold are um, sunburst, white, and black. And anything outside of sunburst, white, and black is going to command a premium price.
Can you guys hear him talking? I can't, I don't know. Can you guys hear him? Okay, cool. I I like making stuff. Like I paint a lot, and I don't know. I just like building things. So I really like soldering in that regard, and I want to learn how to do it. Soldering for electronics seems so much more tedious, and also it's like if you're working on your own art and you mess something up, that's one thing. But if you're building pedals for someone and it's electronics, so like some of the like pieces can be expensive or whatnot, like it's a different thing. I don't know. But I do want to learn more about soldering. I read a lot about branding and building branding irons, and there's a little bit of soldering involved in that in my book, because the so there's this couple, and they're in like they have like a BDSM porn website, and he built a brand and like branded her and posted the pictures and stuff. Anyway, so I would love to learn, like I would love to be much better about audio. And I don't know, I really love editing and video editing. Like I've always wanted to make documentaries. I used to want to be a war correspondent. Um, but yeah. Then I was like, decided not to go into the military, which is a hilarious story, but okay. Um, I have like the first guitar I ever had, Pat. It was a shitty black Fender Squire, or yeah, a Squire Strat, and the jack on that's broken, and I still need to fix it. It's been broken for like over a year, but I don't really play it. I mostly just play the Jazzmaster. Um, what am I doing? Oh yeah, so this study I wanted to talk about, it came out in 2010 in Sweden. In the Cambridge University then published it in 2010 in Psychology Medicine, their like journal. And this has like some crazy insights. Like, you always hear people like growing up. I think this is pretty much not a thing anymore. I think it's been like debunked, but the idea of like nature or nurture. And I think it's pretty obvious now that it's both. Um, and I've never seen a breakdown about it in this way. Like, this is so detailed. This study done in Sweden was, it's called Violent Crime Runs in Families. And they use the Swedish crime registrar and multi-generation register to like construct and analyze uh, families and their relationships in regards to attempted and completed violent crimes. So this is crazy. Like it just kind of it makes so much sense. This is a unique study because this was has to do with violent criminals in Sweden from 1973 to 2004. So it's 31 years of data that they're pulling from. And it was nationwide, and it included more than 12.5 million individuals. So this data is like, this is a wide ranging study. But so the list of crimes, the list, yes, oh my God, the three something strangers, what is it? Three identical strangers, I don't, shit. I gotta look this up, it's gonna annoy me. Um, yeah, three identical strangers. Oh my God, this is heartbreaking. So I don't really talk about my family or like stuff like that. I'm very like private. Like, you know what? Like, that's their choice if they want to be on the internet or not. So I don't mention it. But I will say that I am a twin. And so if I see anything like twin related or triplets or whatever, like I'm already like there. And I saw this and immediately was like, have to immediately watch this. And I did, and it was like heartbreaking. It's so interesting. Um, the study that they did was so fucked. So if you haven't seen this, Three Identical Strangers was a study that was like covered up. By the way, they still can't get their medical records. They can't get them till like 2070 something, if I remember correctly, which is so fucked. But yeah. Yeah, exactly. There are three brothers who are identical triplets, and they each got sent to different families of like, one went to a family in like a lower income bracket, and the other went to like a higher education connected wealthy income bracket, and the other was like middle class America. And what's so weird about this study. Well, they didn't tell any of the adopted parents that any of the babies they were adopting were like one of three. And yeah, it was just so shady. It was for a study about, twins and triplets. It was just so fucked. I can't even imagine. But they eventually, all three of them ended up coming across each other, and it became like this huge story. And ugh, it's so sad. But it's also super interesting. And it does somewhat tie into this because, like, in the inverse way, because the three of them, it was very interesting to see their similarities and differences because you literally get to see that, like, nature and nurture. The crimes in this study, so they include, here, I'll read the list: homicide, assault, robbery, threats, and violence against an officer, gross violation of a person's integrity, unlawful coercion, unlawful threats, kidnapping, illegal confinement. It's a weird way to say that. Arson and intimidation. So the study does not include sexual offenses. So, like, I didn't edit that right. Okay. It's like a whole last sentence that I didn't need with like a link. Adita, what's your question? The Briley brothers. Did you comment about them earlier? I remember someone mentioned them, and I looked them up. But yeah, it's so weird. It's so weird. I have to like read more about that. Like, some of the statistics in here I'm about to read, like, it's so great. So the study found, and this is a quote, strong evidence of familial aggression of interpersonal violent behavior leading to criminal convictions for all relationship types except biologically unrelated adoptive siblings. So essentially what they're saying is if a sibling is adopted, hi Zach, what's up? Good to see you here. Zach is also into music. We were just like, if you scroll up, talking about music and guitars and shit. So, and I want to hear everyone's music. Like, I don't know, can you put links in here, or I don't know, comment like your band. I'm not sure how to do that, but I'm trying to get the hang of this before I do the 2 lives about Delia Day, the Ask Me Anything about my book. So remember to go check out the links below. So, okay, real quick, we were talking about, where was I? I have the worst ADHD. Yeah, so siblings who are adopted, if they have like a half sibling or whatnot, or a parent who is violent, it's much less likely that they will be. But according to this study, if a sibling is convicted of a violent crime, someone is just over 4 times more likely to be convicted of a violent crime. And if a parent is convicted of a violent crime, someone is just under, like their child is just under 4 times more likely to be convicted. So, like, that's insane. If a sibling is a murderer, like you got a brother or sister and they've killed someone, then you are 13 times more likely to be a murderer yourself. Like, that's just wild. And remember, this was what, a population of over 12.5 million people, like all of Sweden. So it's a lot of data to like come up with this. And that's insane. Yeah, exactly. Um, what do you make? Why do you make the videos you make? What pushes you? I explore murder stories too. Yeah, actually, I have a few of them that I want to talk about in relation to this study because they're wild. The first one is um, actually, there's a couple more statistics. Let me get through this and then I'll get to like the good shit. Um, also, sorry to answer your question. I um I really don't know. Like I am a kind of crazy myself. So I think probably anyone who's super into this, you know, there's always that curiosity of like, why are you into this stuff? It's so, I don't know. But I feel like it's not actually that uncommon. Um, I think lots of people are fascinated by it. Um, and sorry about that. My phone's going off. No, the apple does not fall far from the tree. What's up, brown boy? If you see BOI, you have to say it like that. You can't not. Um, yeah. So this is crazy too. So the thing about the sibling, if you have a brother or sister who is a murderer, you are 13 times more likely to be a murderer. If you have a sibling who's an arsonist, then you are 22 times more likely to be an arsonist. That's crazy. If their sibling is a kidnapper, then you are 36 times more likely to kidnap someone. So to me, that really says like what behavior you're seeing that you think is normal, like there's some kind of guard that is dropped. Like there's whatever social standard is there or the social norm, that that wall between like committing violent crimes and or not is like broken down a little bit because you've already witnessed it, so you've already and gone through it and survived it or whatever. And I think that that has to do with it. Like if you see messed up shit or experience it, like you've entered that world inadvertently or not. And so once you're there, I think there's like a level of comfort. And that's just the whole like an element of trauma, or, you know, even in relationships that are abusive, like trauma bonding. And I think that that's probably like the root of it. Um, yeah. You just found my channel? Like, wait, how? Like, did you see? Wait, how did you just find it? Like, does YouTube show you when like stuff's live? I don't know. I've been wondering that, like, who got the link from the magazine and who, and like how people found it. I don't know. I'm really good with words. Did I mention I wrote a book? Okay, cool. You got the email. Um, do you think it's more younger people that are more into this or older people? Sometimes I think it's just human curiosity. Um, I don't know. I think that I think occupation might have something to do with it, and I also think it depends on like the older person because I immediately think of like Joseph D'Angelo or something, you know? Uh, Oh my God, have you seen the Golden State Killer? Have you seen that? Like he's in prison and he comes into court in a wheelchair with like an oxygen mask and stuff, acting like he's, you know, super old. And then they show video right after that of him walking around his cell, climbing up on his desk, like cleaning, and like he's fine. So he's a nutcase. So I think in some instances, like, yeah, it's older people who are into it, but I don't know. I've read a lot about like homicide detectives. Like if you've read Dark Dreams or Mindhunter, John Douglas, they talk about that. This I remember this one story. This homicide detective was having his retirement party, and he had a bunch of like family and friends there, and um, one of they like someone asked him what are you going to miss about this or whatever, and he was like, well, I'll tell you what I'm not going to miss, like pulling the bodies of dead children out of rivers. And then he like started laughing, and everyone was just staring at him. It was like that moment of like, you're so used to it that you can laugh about it, and other people are just shocked and horrified, like what the fuck did he just say? You know what I mean? um I just Yeah, so I think it kind of depends on the person, like what people can handle. Because there are some people I know who just they can't look at it. They don't want anything to do with true crime. They have zero interest. It's too dark for them. So I really feel like it's so individual. I don't know. I always wonder if serial killers get older and they're like, "Oh God, my back hurts. I can't do this anymore." Like that has to be a thing, right? Um, yeah, Pat. He was definitely trying to get sympathy. Ugh. The wait, what? Oh, the interest. Oh, I think I kind of explained that as well. Like, I don't. I think it's the similar. I think it's like individual people, like what you can handle, what your interests are, what you're acclimated to. But I also feel like the older I get, like I want to watch more comedies. You know, I want to go like hang out with my dog and stuff like that. Because at some point you realize that the people doing this, like once you learn enough about them, you realize like, oh, cool, JD, you got the email. Cool. Yeah, Adam Sandler is great. What was I saying? I don't even know. Oh yeah, at some point you realize like there are just fucked up people out there who like part of their brain doesn't work. They're basically like maladaptive. Like there's a human brain and it's just all biological matter. Like we're just walking around like biological matter decaying. That might sound like I'm being like negative, but I just think that that's how it is. Like that makes a lot more sense to me. But yeah, I feel like right. I don't know. Oh, my favorite comedy. Oh my god, comedy movie or man, I could watch Seinfeld and Curb Your Enthusiasm. Like I just have watched those series so much. I also really like Archer. Um, yeah, funny movies. I love like the Marx Brothers. I mean, who doesn't? They're fucking great. And I watch a lot of stand up as well. Like I really just love comedy. Um, I love uh, Norm Macdonald. R.I.P. Norm, a deeply closeted gay man. Please, someone tell me you got that reference. Yes, I think, right? I watched Archer. We watched the latest season of Archer, right? Right. Yeah, we did. We did. Oh, hi from Scotland. Cool. Just started watching How to Make a Murder on Netflix. I haven't watched that actually. but I have heard a lot about. I've seen like a ton of articles about it. So like you definitely have to, especially once your algorithm sees that you're watching it, like you really, you know, if you don't want spoilers, the algorithm kind of doesn't do a great job of that. Oh, so what we were talking about with the whole like correlation between nature and nurture and like sibling relations or familial relations and crime. Um, where were we? So as obviously like the closer you are genetically, the like way more likely it is that if you have a sibling or a parent who is a murderer, kidnapper, arsonist, whatever, that you will, follow in tandem. But and the further away you get, like to a grandparent or a cousin, or obviously if you're adopted but you grew up in that environment, like it's your likelihood is going to go way down. So the first example I'm going to give, Richard Kuklinski. You guys probably know him as the Iceman, this horrifying, terrifying dude. I watched a few documentaries about him. Like his life is a travesty. Like I feel like there are some people who, and I don't feel bad for them because they've done like horrible things. That's their choice. At the end of the day, I do believe in agency, and I also understand that it's complicated if you have someone who's incredibly traumatized or mentally ill. So like I understand that they are dealing with shit, but I also think that they're culpable. And if they're not culpable mentally, like they don't have the capacity, then like they need to be removed from society if they can't cultivate the self-control to not act out like that towards other people. Ed Kemper had a kid. So the statistics above, I'll go over them because they're like a lot of numbers. So like it can be confusing, especially if you're not looking at it. I'm such a visual person. I have to like write things down and like look at like charts and lists and graphs and stuff. But so if you have a sibling who, this was a study that came out in 2010, and this was done in Sweden. It was like over 12.5 million people. It was a nationwide study from the 70s to 2000. It was 1973 to 2004. So it's a huge study. So if you have a sibling who's a murderer, they're 13 times more likely to be a murderer. If you have a sibling who's an arsonist, they're 22 times more likely to be an arsonist. And if you have a sibling who's a kidnapper, you are 36 times more likely to kidnap someone. So like there's a correlation there. It makes sense. There's something about genetics and like how your like brain develops, and like which parts are more developed. Kuklinski's insane. Oh my God, that interview that he did, heartbreaking, fascinating, but also honestly, I feel like he's one of those guys that has like, yeah, he became a career criminal. And like, he's obviously a sociopath, but he's one of the ones that I feel like lean more towards, if he had a nurturing environment, maybe he would have been like a decent guy. But listen to this. So his father, Richard Kuklinski's, known as the Iceman, he's the second child of 4. His father, also from Poland, so immigrated to the United States. His name's Stanley. He was a violent alcoholic. He beat his kids regularly, and his wife, their mother, Anna, when he would get drunk. And on one occasion, when where am I? Lost my spot. I promise I sing better than that. Okay. Yeah, okay. There when Richard's older brother was 7 years old, so Richard was even younger than him, and he witnessed this in person. If you saw that interview, then you probably heard the story before. So his dad beat his 7-year-old brother so horribly one night that he killed him. And Richard witnessed this. And his father and mother lied to police. They never reported anything. And I mean, obviously, I think the mother was too terrified to say anything. But they basically told police that he fell down the stairs and died accidentally. And so his father was never like charged with anything. So that's insane. And I believe it was in those interviews. When it's been a minute, it's hard to like remember where I've read or seen or heard something. But Richard Kuklinski tells a story about going to a, a friend. I would probably more like a colleague, right? Going to the home of someone he knew, and they had like this really wonderful Christmas dinner, and they were all laughing, and it was clear that they like loved each other. And he said that he got up from the table and had to walk outside to the balcony and like sit alone, and he just started like weeping because he was like, wow, that it was like this light bulb went off, and he's like, oh my god, like that's what a family is supposed to look like, because it was just the opposite of his experience. And it, you know, his dad was a murderer, murdered his own brother right in front of him, and then he became a career criminal, murdered a bunch of people. Oh yeah, so he got the nickname the Iceman because the police, did I put a quote here? Maybe not. The police found, or one of the bodies that Kuklinski had killed, instead of like, you know, trying to actually get rid of it, he froze it so that the decomposition process would slow down, which I thought was really interesting that he was that savvy, just because of the time period. Like, you know, people didn't know what the fuck serial killers were, you know? They weren't even called that at the time. So I thought that that showed some interesting insight. Even if he didn't understand the science, I guess once you kill enough people, you probably figure that out if you live in a cold area. But yeah, I mean, refrigerators existed. What am I talking about? All right, never mind. This is probably common knowledge. I don't know. Yeah, the Iceman, the film The Iceman, wasn't that with Michael Fassbender? Am I thinking of the right one? Saw that a few years ago. Yeah, I I always find it interesting with uh, Gavin Love. That's like a pretty great name. I like that. It's like stage namey sounding. I guess it's anyone with the like the last name Love is so Courtney Love. You know what I mean? I cannot talk about Courtney Love right now. I will not stop. Okay, stay focused. Michael Shannon. You mean in the movie? That's an actor, right? Yeah. Okay. Oh, wait. No, I do know what you're talking about. I did see this. Oh my God, it's been a long time. I remember him in the two things that I really remember him in are No Country for Old Men as the sheriff deputy, and in the assassination of Jesse James. Yeah. He's weird because he gets like typecast. He's like a character actor, but he gets typecast not in like a wide range of characters, you know, like quirky, whatever, but he's just like, I don't even know how to describe so many of the characters. So it was cool to see him in that. Um, yeah, I agree. Cupcakes and Camaros. Oh my god, fuck yeah. That sounds awesome. Though we have a Camaro and I'm not allowed to eat in the car, which makes sense, but I like love eating in the car. I used to have a Jeep and then we traded it for our car and like I do miss eating in the car. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about it, but I don't know a lot. I've heard of Peter Curtin. This is Kevin Jones, and I don't know a lot about him. Gacy, I know a shit ton about, and um, I don't actually. Peter Curtin, my God, why it sounds so familiar, but I just cannot place anything. The Gacy, um, I wanted to read his stupid book and it was like $3,000. Like it's out of print and I really want to know who the fuck paid that much for it. Like I want to know who did that. It was such a weird purchase to make. I don't know. Honestly, it probably wasn't even good. I've only seen some pages of it, but they messed up the film. This is Vulture Man 23. They messed up the film. Honestly, I need to rewatch it because it's been a while. Like, I'm confusing it with a Michael Fassbender movie I saw, I think, where Michael Fassbender was also killing people. And it wasn't The Killer, which just came out, David Fincher movie. I really liked it. It was good. It was good. It had more of like a Steve McQueen feel to it, actually. Um, but I did like it. Have I seen Bug? No. No. But I love weird movies. Oh, thanks, Google. Bug, a small insect. Thanks for the definition. This came out in 2006. Oh, I wish I could send pictures in the chat. Can I do that? Whatever. Um, this reminds me, the cover of the movie reminds me of Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains. He has some of his solo stuff. It was like Degradation Trip or something. I don't know, but it reminds me of his album cover art. It's definitely like psychological horror-y. I'll have to watch this. Looks interesting. Okay, another thing about Richard Kuklinski. So not only did his father murder one of his brothers in front of him, and then Richard became a murderer, but Richard's younger brother, Joseph Michael Kuklinski, was convicted in 1970 of raping a 12-year-old girl named Pamela Dial and murdering her by throwing her and her dog off the top of a 5-story building. That's fucked up. But the dog thing, really, like the dog, really, I love dogs so much. I hate that shit. Anything that has to do with dogs or kids, and I would consider 12-year-old a kid. I can't. I mean, I can, and I do read about it. It makes me angry. Other stuff I can read and like whatever, it's fine. I can read it. But dogs and kids, like that shit makes me mad. So that's crazy. So we got a dad with two brothers, and oh, I saved this perfect fucking quote. Like you couldn't write a better quote for the story compared to that study in Sweden. But so when Kuklinski was interviewed, when he was asked about his brother's crimes, he said, "We come from the same father." Really, like, yeah, really, the statement, "The apple doesn't fall far from the tree," like, it's so true. Like, you have the genetics, and you grow up. If you grow up with your biological parents, like, you're going to pick up traits from them. So, Big Rich, as he was known, another nickname, Big Rich, the Iceman, he ended up serving 4 consecutive life sentences. Or he hasn't served them. He was charged with 4 murders, and the ruling came down that he used to spend that amount of time in prison. Okay, so yeah, the next one. Hold on, I want to catch up on the comments. Yes, The Exorcist, classic movie. I love it. I read this interview with Marilyn Manson. It was like this. It was from the '90s, and it wasn't actually really an interview. It was more like a vlog type thing. Like they followed him around, and he was in California and he was painting. Oh my god, Marilyn Manson's paintings! I fucking love them. They're great. Um, he he's drinking absinthe, and then he has a cup of water for the paint, like his paintbrushes, sitting right next to the cup of absinthe, and like he's like mixing. He's dipping the paintbrush in the absinthe and like drinking it and painting with absinthe. But he gets a phone call and it's Twiggy, um, and they're going to see The Exorcist at this like little movie theater in Los Angeles. And he said that when they saw it, when like she starts projectile vomiting, that they were sitting on a balcony and they like threw their drinks on the people below them. Oh god. Yeah, The Exorcist. That's classic. The Exorcist and Rosemary's Baby to me are just like they kind of go together in my mind. Yeah, definitely. What is Roman Polanski doing now? I almost just made a really bad joke. I don't want to get sued. Okay. This is live, so I can't edit it. I should really put a video of my all of my like all the takes that didn't make it. It would be very funny. I am fucking hilarious. I crack myself up. Yeah, even Chris Watts didn't kill his dog. Dogs are magical. They're magical. I wish my buddy would come over here. He's sleeping. He's the best. I love him so much. My Akita. Hold on, I gotta pull up a picture on my Instagram. By the way, guys, if you want to support me, you can go to the link in the description. The first link in the description is about my book, and then the second link is a 15% off deal. If you subscribe to murderpm.com, then you get the book with your subscription. So If you want to support me, go do that, subscribe, and yeah, get the 15% off. That deal, the 15% expires July 4th. So definitely get it now. This is my favorite picture of my dog. Wow. This like reflection is something. What the hell? Okay, I'm gonna stop. I love him. He's the best. Anthony Todd. Oh my God, Pat. They were in the same prison. That reminds me of this other. Gotta scroll. Another example. Pedro Rodriguez. Philo. I'm like good with names if I practice them over and over, but yeah. Wow, I have like horrible ADHD. Akitas are beautiful. I love them so much. Israel Keys was a Bundy wannabe. He did look up to Bundy. So stupid. Anyway, sorry. I want to make a video about all the mean comments I get because I think it would be funny, like reacting to my mean comments. Because I've got videos. It just made me think of it. My visceral reaction of disgust to that, of the comments about, oh, she looks like she would marry a serial killer. It's so fucking bizarre. I should do a video about hybristophilia, which is having an attraction to criminals. Because to be honest, I feel like I have a bit of that, but it's not to serial killers. They're too deranged for me. I'm thinking more like outlaws. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Wait, Jeff, who was the most inept criminal? Keys or Bundy or Mr. Softy? Oh, wait. Who the fuck is that? Oh. Oh, wait, no, I don't know who this is. Pee-wee Gaskins. Pee-wee Gaskins. His birthday is very close to mine. He was a serial killer, a rapist from South Carolina who shot, stabbed, drowned, and poisoned more than a dozen people. Oh, okay, so I feel like a few $100 for a paperback that like an autobiography is one thing. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's reasonable. But like $3,500 for John Wayne Gacy's book where he bullshits. And again, I haven't read this, so I've read about it, but where he like bullshits about how he's innocent. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I would read it and be like, this is fucking great. Wow, what a missed talent. I don't know. But still, $3,000. Get the fuck out of here. Someone needs to make that a PDF. Okay. Oh my God. The ATM and he's so stupid. Okay, so I got that. You'll hear about this in the video that goes out tomorrow at noon. about Israel Keys, but I got the Anchorage Police Department files on him, hundreds of photos, audio, some video, and it is so clear based on some of the interviews with Kimberly. I'm going to do a video specifically on this. Sorry, ADHD. I saw it, Pat. I saw your comment. And I was like, I don't know. Is it on the Internet Archives? And I'm like, what the fuck was I talking about? Really, what was I talking about? Oh, Kimberly Anderson. So I did not know this at the time, but Kimberly Anderson and Israel Keys, he was living at the house with her, but they had broken up. Like my understanding when I made the documentary and for a decent amount of time after following that was that they were together when all of this went down. Not the case. Apparently they'd been broken up for like a year, and she felt bad for him because he was super depressed and like he wasn't taking as much jobs. He was living on the bottom floor, which was like all concrete, and it was painted this weird teal color. When I do a video, I'll put photos in a video in murderpm.com. Go subscribe, and then later I'll put it on here. But yeah, really subscribing to that, to murderpm.com, will allow me to be able to do this full time. And what I want to do is to be able to start up my own production company and be able to fund making this documentary about the Delia Day series. And then I would love to be able to get a production deal and like a distribution deal to make like a live action mini series about it. But anyway, I have like treatments and I started a script and shit, but I would really, really appreciate your support. It'll be cool. You can make a lot of cool shit in the future. I'm excited. But yeah, what was I fucking saying? Oh, the photos that I'm gonna put in the magazine. He was like drinking a lot at this time. One of the photos, there's just like all these empty beer bottles just sitting on the floor. Like there's like boxes of wine, if I recall. Yeah, he was drinking a lot and wasn't taking as many jobs. So, I thought it always kind of didn't make sense to me. Oh, he's doing construction, he's making good money. But Kimberly said that he actually wasn't that good of a businessman and that he would give people like really good discounts and he would work really hard, but other people would charge more. So he wasn't like being as competitive. Kimberly, by the way, sharp, very smart. Oh my God, the video that comes out at noon tomorrow, I found photos that I haven't seen anywhere else. Oh my God. This is crazy. I want to talk about it, but I don't want to spoil it. If any of you are, if you're subscribed to Murder PM, you could go watch the video right now. It's on there. But yeah. What? Cement shoes. Pee-wee Gaskins rigged a phone to blow up in a guy's ear while in prison. I would hope that it killed him. I feel like you wouldn't want to live through that, right? You wouldn't want to survive that. There are some things like that. If I experienced that shit, I'd be like, just kill me. I'm done. I don't want to suffer through trying to like acclimate with, I don't know, holy shit. Wow. Well, I don't know why I don't really know a lot about him, but that kind of has a Unabomber vibe. Though the Unabomber he was a smart guy. And I think that I should do a video on him. He's really interesting. I think people just like talking about the Unabomber, really, like he seems so one-dimensional when I watch stuff or see stuff about him. Like there are just I want to make the documentaries that I want to see. Like give me the details. Show me the whole person. You know what I mean? Like there's just a lot more. I'm not minimizing the crimes, but there's a lot more to a person than their crimes. And that is honestly at this point in like all the research and shit I've done about serial killers, like the other aspects of them are more definitely more interesting. I used to be like more into the crimes, and I read a lot. I think that I've educated myself enough in like the psychology and understanding like um how detailed and meticulous um like CSI can be. I read a really great book about that. Actually, I want to do a video talking about like the top most fascinating CSI things that I learned from that book. So wild. Like this shit is so advanced. Oh my god. I'm surprised people still get it. Actually, I'm not surprised people still get away with murder. What am I talking about? Um, um, the manifesto. You mean the Unabomber's manifesto? It is. Like I'm saying, like it wasn't a manifesto like fucking Israel Keys's poem, which kind of wasn't a manifesto. Like this was actually so on a scale of like Israel Keys's suicide note to like a dissertation. I feel like he was a smart guy. You know, I really do wonder about that, like how his brother feels about that. I wonder about their relationship. I mean, kind of what we were talking like this shit, all the familial stuff, like the sibling relationships are so interesting to me. I am curious if Israel Keys' siblings will talk. I've talked to one of them, and then I talked to somebody who dated one of them who reached out to me. And without his permission, I don't want to like say who it is or who they were dating or anything, but um, there's definitely some personality similarities that his other siblings have. I think people, because his crimes are so horrible, that people tend to completely separate his family. Like all of his other siblings were normal. I'm like, we don't fucking know that. I don't know anything about his siblings. I know that they're like into music and their brother's a serial killer. And then some of the things that people have emailed me. You know, we don't fucking know. Israel Keys is a weird one because the press like found out about him when he died. I cannot think of another serial killer who was only in prison for a year. The like it's just so weird. So many most of the serial killers we know of, they have all this time in prison after their crimes. They do interviews. Fucking Ted Bundy helped the Green River Task Force with Gary Ridgway. Like we have what's his name? John Wayne Gacy writing a book in prison. Gary Heidnik wrote, who I'm halfway editing a documentary on, wrote a ton of letters to the research assistant of his lawyer that no one fucking talks about, by the way. I went and read them all. He's nuts. Him, by the way, Gary Heidnik and his brother. Gary Heidnik and his brother Terry, horribly abused. Both of them like schizophrenic and weird. They were in like psych hospitals together. In one of his letters, he describes playing pranks on nurses, and like they would come to visit each other when like Gary was out, but his brother was in. Gary also worked at a hospital as like, I don't know why anyone gave him a job, frankly, but he would steal the keys and then let his brother out so they could run through the halls and stuff at the psych hospital. Like, it is a sibling thing. It like, ugh, it's so weird. Then again, I'm a twin, and well, my sister and I have like lots of similarities, but lots of differences. And that was always interesting to me, you know? And then you have like the fucking Olsen twins who are like, I feel like they're the step away from being conjoined. Like, they basically are. I don't know. That's kind of my perception of them. The most cringe manifestos ever written was by Elliot Rodgers. I haven't read it. I need to go read that. God, I have such a long list. I need to put that on my list. Uncle dude. Okay, so is anyone watching The Jinx? Oh wait, before I talk about Robert Durst, who the fuck was I talking about? Oh, Pedro Rodriguez Philo. I don't know how to say it. Does anyone know how to pronounce his last name? Filho. Pedro Rodriguez Philo. So, if I recall correctly, didn't his father murder his mom? And his father was in prison in Brazil. And then Pedro, basically he's a serial killer, ends up in prison and then kills his father while they're both in prison. That reminded me, you were saying, made a comment about, yeah, Richard Kuklinski and his brothers being in prison together. That reminded me of this. Yeah, it's just so bizarre. Like, I can't even imagine. Yeah. So now Pedro has a YouTube. Has anyone watched that? I don't speak Portuguese and there aren't closed captions, which sucks. I like looked at a bunch of his videos to see if any of them were in English, and I'm so disappointed. I'm like, shit, I need to learn Portuguese just for this. Yeah. Hey, if I can build up Murder Pop, which is our company, Murder Pop Industries, officially registered. We can build that up to a good enough place and be able to get a production company going. I will hire a translator to go through his videos and translate them, and then do a video on him, because I like don't know what the fuck he's talking about, and I would love to watch his videos because, you know, after being in prison with his dad and killing his dad, Brazil does not have life sentences. They don't do that, which is stupid, but whatever. I don't believe that serial killers or rapists, or I don't really believe that violent criminals, unless it's something you did when you were a minor. I think that there should be forgiveness for minors unless it's something horrendous, and like the behavior ceases to stop. Like while they're in juvie or something, they're still like killing people. I don't know. But like, why do those people need to be let back into society? I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. I just kind of see us as like biological matter walking around, and some people don't work and they aren't nice. Like they don't need. They're like a dog with rabies. I kind of view it that way. Like you have a disease and you need to be removed. That's what we do with dogs with rabies. Like, you know, unpopular opinion, but what did Amy Schumer say about Alec Baldwin's wife in her most recent stand-up? She said, "I don't mean to bully a sociopath, but," which, oh my God, Alec Baldwin's wife is, she's definitely a sociopath. Hilaria Baldwin, who is from like New York or something and is pretending that she's from Spain with her fake accent. Oh my God. I don't know if you have this store here. It's called Zara. Cannot. I'm actually not like I don't like all of Amy Schumer's stuff, but that shit was funny. Like she's a hit or miss person for me. There are some comedians that I'm like I could watch all of your stuff and I love it. The what, brother? God, this little heart thing in the corner is in the way and I can't read all of that. Probably not. It doesn't look the Bevel brothers. We're for my twin and we're fraternal. I got oh, I think that's an E. I looked Bevel Brothers with an I, and it's a funeral home. This is a funeral home in Kentucky. Beaver, okay. No, but that sounds cute. I love animals so much. Cringerella, oh my God, for real though. That whole thing with the shooting, I want to do an update on that Hannah Gutierrez Reed, the armorer who was sentenced to like a year and a half, or I don't know what she got, like 14, 16 months or something. Which is crazy because she took after her father, who was like this iconic armorer who worked on like every fucking Western movie and like, oh my God, it's really that's sad. Her dad is definitely not proud. And the whole world knows it. um, the Beaver brothers. Okay, I've seen this dude, I have seen his mugshot. Are these the weird religious ones? Oh no. No, these are the mass shooting brothers. Oh right. God, there's just so many psychos out there. That would be interesting. They remind me of the Keyhoes, Israel Keys' friends up on Aladdin Mountain. They definitely remind me of the Kehoe brothers, the whole fucking Kehoe family. I feel like once you get into gun running and it becomes a family business, like that's it. You know what I mean? Um, oh, another example I wanted to give was Saddam Hussein. So I think I lived in the Middle East, so I watched so many like Middle Eastern based documentaries and shit like that. And oh my God, Saddam Hussein's sons, their they're a whole family of psychopaths. Truly, um, yeah. I think part of that is because unlike in the United States, when you get to the Middle East, particularly, and to the continent of Africa, you're dealing with royal families and monarchies in many places, and especially in Islamic countries, there's no separation of church and state. Like, it's still that it is an Islamic government. So the entire dynamic for for someone growing up there or being a local of the country, like your entire cultural basis is different. Like, it's all different. And I do think that the genetic component, obviously, no matter what, the genes are always going to play a role, always. But like, to grow up in that environment versus one in the United States is so fucking different because of the level. It's the, I mean, it's like the 1% here. Like, yeah, I'm sure you guys have heard of the Jinx coming out. Season 2 is just coming out. Robert Durst, he's worth like $100 million. The whole Durst family, um, from New York, like his father was this, like his family was into building skyscrapers. They're into real estate, like from way back in the day. So he's like a legacy multimillionaire. Um, and I really like having that much money. You can do anything and get away with most things. He literally had a trial and like spent, I think it was 75 million on 2 lawyers, and got off on a murder. And he was a witness in that trial in Galveston, Texas, for murdering his best friend, neighbor, whatever, that he met while he was on the lam pretending to be disguised as an elderly woman, which this disguise is like horrifying. It's not BTK level horrifying, but it isn't. He pretended to be deaf and mute because he knew he couldn't imitate a woman's voice like convincingly. So he was just, oh my god. Yeah, so like to have that kind of money, and I just think it's a very similar, like the neural connections in your mind. Like, I feel that like consequences are built in. Um, you can do literally fucking anything and you're not going to get in trouble. Now he is in trouble because he's an idiot and not on camera, sorry. He had his mic was hot. Like, his mic was still on from doing an interview. And he went to the bathroom after and didn't realize that it was still on and then like confessed to murder. Ugh. So funny. But yeah. I think that like the Hussein family, it's like the 1%, but it's a cultural difference. In the United States, there's a lot more due process. Like, Durst can get away with the murder, but he still has to have the trial. See, like the difference there? With the Hussein family, there's no fucking trial. Like, there's not. Because it's their like country. It's also like a much smaller country. So anyway, yeah, so Saddam Hussein's son, Uday, was a serial killer, like serial killer, serial rapist, and yeah, basically he just did whatever the fuck he wanted because he was Saddam Hussein's son. And I think he had 3 sons, either 2 or 3. But Uday was the worst. And I think that like that goes to the environmental aspect of growing up like that. Wealth breaks people's brains. Yeah, I think that, you build so much character working for what you like what you have, you worked for it. And Robert Durst says that. He said that his entire life, like there's nothing he can do to earn his living. His life was like paid for completely the moment before he was even born. And I think that that really does do something to a person's brain, because we're all, like, all of us, every person on the planet needs money to survive. We have to work so we can eat. And the 1% that doesn't have to do that, like, there is something in their brain. I guess it is like broken. They just don't have that. Um yeah, so see season 2 of The Jinx just came out. There's only one episode out. Um The next one comes out on the 28th. Yeah. Is that Sunday? I think they're doing every Sunday. But Robert Durst, the wealth breaks people's brains thing. So first of all, speaking of the genetics, uh his father was a huge piece of shit. Like, I'm not just talking, this whole study is specifically about like behavioral violence, but the genetic aspect and also like your upbringing, I really feel like the emotional violence as well is huge. And while this study doesn't get into this, actually, to be honest, I haven't read the whole study. I read a decent amount of it, but I have not read the whole thing. If you um subscribe to Murder PM, I'm gonna plug the shit out of this, okay? I don't care if I'm repeating myself. But the PDF of this whole study is on there. So if you do want to look at it, that's there. Um, but his father, Robert Durst's father, was like emotionally violent. Like he was not there at all, basically. And that this weird thing happened with like his mom when Robert Durst was like 6 or 7. His dad called him out of his room at night to over to like a window in their house, and he was like, look out the window. And his mom was standing like on the adjacent part of this like huge building that they lived in, on the roof, so you had like a clear vision of her from the window. And Robert watched, he said, he tells the story and it's like a little confusing, but I think there's some gaps in his memory maybe about like the details, because he was so young and it was so like fucked up. But his mom jumped and like killed herself, and the his dad was abusive, so like there's obviously first of all, I think if anyone kills themselves, like, unless you're doing it and you're like, it's for a cause other than your own depression, like there's an external reason why suicide is the choice you're making. um and I think it has to be extreme like situation, and I'm not judging people who are suicidal, like, I'm not. I mean, I've been there briefly. It's definitely like something that you will come out of, but unless it's like, oh, I have this oh my god, what is it called? Oh, like a cyanide tablet, and if I don't, like, I need to break a tooth so I can get it out because like national security is, you know what I mean? Like, you're a spy. Like, I think that um that shit makes sense. It's almost like part of a job, or like what people would say destiny or whatever. But I think that people who commit suicide who have like a 6-year-old and like decide to jump off of a building, like, that person is clearly mentally ill. And I do think that that depression level aspect and like paranoia and reality distortions, like, how the fuck can that not impact a kid, you know? And then, Robert Durst, the serial killer of the family. You're back. Jeff, practicality versus emotion. Do I have a kid? I have a dog. No human children. You know, the idea of that does scare me. I think I would be a good parent because I think sometimes people have kids so young that they don't figure their shit out and then they just repeat all of this. And oh, I'm so curious. I wonder how old you all think I am. Because I would talk about like the older I get. Yeah, I want to know. You guys should guess.
72.
How dare you? You will not, you will not offend me. 74. Close, Jeff. Real close. You know what? I feel like my mind feels like I'm 74. 28. You are close. Close. Anyone else want to guess? You're losing hair. I am not losing hair. How dare you? Look at my hair. I'm sorry. 33, 38. Yeah, I am 31. And I really feel like waiting to have a kid, the white hairline, that could be I think it might be light, but also like I dye my hair dark. My hair is like much lighter. When I was a kid. Buddy. Hey, come here. This my boy. I love you, buddy. You're so cute. I don't want to like annoy him too much. He's like sighing at me. He weighs like 135 pounds. He is like 4. He's just over 4 years old. He'll be 5 in November. Did I go to college? Yes. I went to Georgia State University and I got degrees in film and journalism. Hello, Margaret Maddox. The pink tongue. Oh my God. Everything about him is so cute. Have you seen the chows with the they have like a black tongue? They're so cute. I love they almost look purple. Yeah, he is a big boy. He's a cutie. I love him so much. Oh yeah, what was the focus of the film course? One of my favorite film classes. Oh, chow chows. I just love dogs. They're the best. Yes. Alien. Classic. Oh yeah, one of my favorite film courses was Soviet cinema. That was a weird one. It was so fascinating. We watched a lot of obviously Soviet era movies that I never would have heard about before. I wrote a long paper about Ivan the Terrible, or what am I saying? That was not the name of the movie, but I've been sober for a minute, but I was like a huge pothead, and I feel like I'm still a it has to leave my body for me to like for my brain to go back to normal. Um, oh, poor dogs. I love them all. Oh my god, the pugs. So, uh, you know how Israel Keys and Kimberly had 3 pugs? In the photos, so cute. In the photos from the Anchorage Police Department, you can see them, and in the on the bottom floor, like near the basement where they have their like washer and dryer room and storage stuff, they have these tiny little stairs that go up to a window, and like for the little pugs to like, oh my god, they're so cute. I made a horrible joke. It was, I wonder what Israel Keys said to Kimberly about the pugs, like if he ever got annoyed. That pug gets in the trash again. It's a really fucked up joke. Please tell me someone got that reference. I'm very interested to see what you guys think about this insane Israel Keys story. Yeah. Subscribe to murderpm.com. That is my platform where I can't get censored. And yeah, if you want early access to videos, they're on there. The Israel Keys video has been on there since early Wednesday. So yeah, if you want to support me, that'd be fucking great. Oh, hi, Fernanda. How are you? Courtney Love. Okay, so I listened to all of Nirvana's music, all of Hole. Like, I have read so much about the whole like issue with his suicide. I don't think she had anything to do with it. Okay, I think she was like geeked out of her mind, and she was in a totally different state at the time. She was in California and he was in Washington, if I recall correctly. And I think they were going to get a divorce. And I think that their relationship was contentious on both sides, and he was depressed. Like, did anyone see Montage of Heck? Anyone? It is great. You guys should see it. But she like accused him of being high on heroin and like dropping their daughter Frances when she was like an infant. And I think that she, you know, maybe that happened. I don't know. Don't know. Courtney Love's fucking nuts. So love you, Courtney. She has this like insane interviews with you know what, I'm getting way off topic, but yeah, I don't think that she had anything to do with his suicide. Long story short. Yeah. Man, watching her mourn after that was crazy. Yes. Children of Men. Fuck yeah. I love that movie. I have seen that at least a dozen times. So fucking good. I saw it when it first came out. I'm a big Clive Owen fan. Okay, they have like one of the most amazing scenes with no edits. I okay, I actually don't remember how long it was. I think it's like 12 minutes almost. And this scene is in a war zone and it is wild. Like, it, go see Children of Men if you haven't seen it. Michael Caine's in it. He's awesome. He grows weed like off in this off the grid cabin. And he like makes his own hybrid flavors. And the one in the movie is called Strawberry Cough because you don't taste it initially, but when you start coughing from smoking, it tastes like strawberries. Apparently, I would try it. I've never heard it. Was the victim of Harvey Weinstein? Courtney Love was. Maybe she was. I don't know. But all of that was just overturned, right? Like earlier today, that conviction for Harvey Weinstein was overturned. I think they're gonna call for like a retrial probably. But I don't know. That's what my husband was saying. I did read the article about that all being overturned, but I don't know what's gonna happen now. My thing with that is, and I'm not saying people aren't victims, but I am a very evidence-based person, and it is a fact, no matter what the case is about, like sexual assault or otherwise, it is a fact that memory is faulty the longer time goes on, which is why we have statutes of limitations. And we used to. It's kind of been like a state by state thing, but that's kind of going away, and I think that that's fucked up because there are people out there like Amber Heard who will take advantage of the Me Too thing, and it really fucks with people who are actually victims. Yeah, the Harvey Weinstein thing that I had an issue with is that they had testimony from people who weren't actually the reason that the reason it was overturned is because the judge took evidence of people's witness testimony who weren't actually part of the lawsuit. So like outside evidence into consideration for something that's like, it's not official like it's not how it works. So the judge fucked up, but I don't know the exact details on that. It sucks for actual victims, but like memory is faulty and witness testimony is like the number one least credible source of evidence. Like, unless it's right after the fact and you have like a police report with it written down. Like, if you get someone, there's a gnat. If you get someone 20 years after the fact talking about how they were raped, this is not a popular opinion, but I question everything. I'm such a skeptic. Because I'm like, were you raped, or were you at a young age very naive, given an uncomfortable decision, and instead of walking away, you chose to do something that was degrading and made you feel like shit, but you got a role that you like. Do you know what I mean? This shit is so complicated. It's not one side or the other. Everything is complicated. People are complicated. And I don't know, if Harvey Weinstein's like actually a rapist, then like he should be in prison, you know? But I personally, I haven't looked at all the evidence, so I don't know. I'm just telling you my own theory about the Me Too movement and how it actually hurts victims. It doesn't help them, it hurts them. That was my whole point. Yeah, the rape cases, it's definitely like a he said, she said thing. That's the whole like the my book, the story of Delia Day, the death of Travis Anton, the whole thing is he said, she said. I mean, there is the police report, obviously, and like her confession in the report and the autopsy and all that. But like, that's a whole nother can of worms, because in that case, they just straight up believed and assumed that she was a victim of abuse. And that trial, like, they're what, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm sorry. I'm like trying to read these and like, yeah. Does anyone else have ADHD? It's fun, right? The autopsy report and the police report were not submitted to the grand jury. They didn't even look at it. They even had improper information. Anyway, the reason I'm doing this whole live stream is to like get the hang of it before I do the Ask Me Anything about the Delia Day case. So click on the first link in the description. And oh wait, no. Click on the second link in the description. And it has the details of when I'm going to be doing the Ask Me Anything live streams. I'm doing 2 of them. So check that out. And yeah, I'll be sending out a link. If you're a subscriber, I will be sending out a link like right before, like I did this time. So yeah. Wait, how do you say your name? Dana? Dene? I don't know. I saw your comment. I know you just deleted it, so you probably don't want me to talk about it, but I do want to say that, like, I understand why people feel that way. Like, that comes from a place of pain and anger, and I think that it's important to be able to talk about it, because there's so much animosity between men and women. I understand why. Like, if you're a rape victim and you like had trauma, you know what I mean? Like, it is not easy, you know? And if some victims are never able to openly talk about it, that's okay too. Like, whatever you need to do to like live your life as whole as possible after like going through shit. But yeah, absolutely. That's what I was gonna say. Like, people are complicated, and I hate to like make it out like all men are because they're not. Like, there are really incredible men out there, and there are lots of men who go through the issues with men and women in society, especially now, are so fucked. Like, I feel like there isn't like room for people to be people, if that makes sense. And I feel like with some stereotypes or whatnot, there's like no winning. I feel like honestly, our society is it's misogynistic, and that's kind of what people talk about, but it's also very misandrist. Like, there is a hatred of men that is out there. The vibe is out there. And, you know, we're talking about all these like serial killers like Richard Kuklinski and like Robert Durst. And like, there are all these men who have done horrible things. But like, let's not forget Amber Heard and, you know, other horrifying women. Like, what's her name? There was some stripper from Alaska who I wanted to do a video about, who conned like 3 guys and like ended up murdering one of them. You know what I mean? Like, women are just as capable of being like manipulative and shit. And it's complicated. Like, I never want to say all men are this, all women are like, that's just bullshit. Like, that's just factually untrue. But yeah, I just am very like, some generalizations and stereotypes are a thing for a reason. They come from somewhere, whether they're wholly true or not. But um, for me, it's individual. I don't care where you're from. I don't care what your sex is or if whatever the fuck your gender preference is. I don't care. It's individual. Like, there are just shitty people out there. So yeah, I didn't mean to like upset anyone with this conversation. This is not what I intended to talk about. And okay, so actually I'm glad that this happened because the study that I was just talking about from Sweden, there is a reason that they excluded sexually violent crimes from the study, because the statistics skew, like, it's a whole different thing. They literally will separate their studies between like arson, kidnapping, robbery, whatever, everything to do with crime, and then any like sex related crimes are its own category. And there's a reason for that. It's just a part of human nature. Like, and some people's human nature took a nosedive. Rape is absolutely about power. Yep. 100%. I think that it's always about power, but that doesn't mean it's only about power. You know what I mean? But it's always about domination. Like, you're taking something without permission. So like by nature. Scott, hi. So nice to see you here. We were just talking about rape and violence. How are you doing? Yeah, well, I mean, Jeff, I agree. Like, the yeah, so Scott, we're talking about how we're talking about the study that happened in Sweden, or that took place in Sweden, and it took statistics of violent criminals from 1973 to 2004. It was a nationwide study about how crime runs in families. So that's environmental and genetic. And some of these statistics are wild. So I'm going to post this live stream after. Obviously, I'm going to post it to Murder PM and then later probably on YouTube. But yeah. Yeah. So we're talking about this study and how, honestly, I kind of want to read these again because they're still wild to me. So listen to this. If a sibling is convicted of a violent crime, then you are 4 times more likely to be convicted of a violent crime. If a parent is convicted of a violent crime, you're just under 4 times more likely to be convicted. If a sibling is a murderer, you are 13 times more likely to be a murderer. If a sibling is an arsonist, you're 22 times more likely to be an arsonist. And if a sibling is a kidnapper, you are 36 times more likely to kidnap someone. But like right when you came in here, Scott, we were talking about rape. That was because this study did not include sexual crimes. And we were talking about the reason for that. And like, yeah. Wait, JD gets what? Oh my God, what did I miss? Oh my God, really? That would be amazing. Fernanda, I really want to cover him. Like, his story is insane. So this whole study we were talking about, he came up obviously because Pedro was in prison for murder, and his dad was in prison at the same time. I believe, if I remember correctly, I feel like this may or may not be right, but his dad murdered his mom, and then he went to prison and then killed his dad. Like, wild shit. And it's like, I mean, if your parent is a murderer, you're just going to be way more likely to be fucked up. And like, you see that behavior as a form of problem solving. Yeah. Or you see the violence, even if you don't like logically think this way, but I am next level ADHD for real. Yes, the link. Okay, so the link of the study, let me find it. There's a Murder PM article. I am next level ADHD. I'm insane. The link also, if you go to murderpm.com, the link is in the description, which I'm actually going to send the article. There are some graphs in here, and the whole study, you can download the PDF in the article. Yeah, sorry, I'm so ADHD. I think that's also like partly why I wanted to do the live, because I'm talking and then like trying to keep up with the conversations. So just figuring it out. But yeah, I did not mean to ignore you. Was that the question you? I'm sorry, I got so excited. Fernanda literally just said that like she could translate Pedro Rodriguez's YouTubes. Like, how fucking cool is that? That's interesting. Do I think violence can be genetic? Yeah. I think that it's absolutely combined, genetic and environmental. Like, I was talking about that early on, that the nature versus nurture question was so prevalent in like our science classes, you know, growing up. And now I think that it's actually kind of debunked. Like, I think that it's both. Like, it has to be a combination of both. I mean, you know, that's why studies like this came out. It was from the 70s to the early 2000s, and it was published in the US in 2010. So it's really not that long ago. But I think people are realizing now how much you have to like break this cycle, because it's so genetic and environmental. Your brain fully develops at age 25. So I think the earlier you can recognize bad behaviors, or like, I don't want to say bad, like good or bad. What is good or bad? Let's not talk about philosophy right now. I'm telling myself to stay on track. But yeah, I definitely think that if you experience violence, or if honestly, if you experience even emotional neglect, or you don't learn how to resolve conflicts, because at the core of violence, unless you're like sexually motivated, I still think there's power and issues there, and like anger issues. But well, yeah, what Jeff said, that's more what I'm like. I think that behaving in a violent way, it it's behavioral, but it comes from a genetic place, and that's the thing that I don't like about kind of how we're just taught about how humans work, because we're almost taught as though like the mind and the body are separate, and they're not. Like, I truly believe that the mind, if you have a mental illness or something, it's going to affect your physiology. I actually have, I'll give you an example, and I might talk about this in depth later. I don't know. But I was diagnosed with endometriosis, and I definitely have some of my own like issues aside from the ADHD. And with endometriosis, there is a high correlation with personality disorders. And I truly think that how your brain is wired and like what maladaptive traits you've picked up or whatever, like there's something about that, about how your brain is wired. Like it is literally affecting your body. And I don't know how to, I'm not doing a great job of describing this. I've just been talking a lot and I think I'm kind of like babbling at this point. A, a lack of empathy really is the like nexus of the problem, because if you cannot, like, lacking empathy is a common trait in all of the cluster B issues. It is like the source of personality disorders. Um, or not the source, but you know what I mean. The common trait, not being able to understand other people, like reality distortions, viewing people as an extension of yourself, like that kind of thing. Object permanence. So there's definitely lack of empathy. Like, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about criminal population or like a serial killer population, Jeff. It's like it's not going to be most of society. Like it's that is a good point, and that is shown in the graphs in the article that I sent. Um, yeah, or in the some of the statistics that I laid out that I didn't mention here. I don't think trauma can be passed on genetically in the sense that, like, if you mean trauma, like memories, but I do think that it can be passed on genetically, kind of inadvertently. Like, oh, if you have, oh, thank you, Margaret. Yeah, it fucking sucks, but I found an interesting way around it. I don't want to bore everyone talking about it though. I don't know. Um, I what the fuck was I saying? I don't even remember. Do not remember. Seriously, like this is me. I love making videos and documentaries, and I love editing video and like creating a like telling a story and stuff, but thank God for editing because I seem so much more like, you know, oh, that sucks, your internet's being shit. Well, I mean, this will definitely be available to watch later. I know it's not as fun as a live, but what did I miss in this conversation? Oh, Jeffrey Dahmer's brother? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean a lot of serial killers have siblings. Were Who missed me talking about Israel Keys' siblings earlier? Actually, yeah, just go back in the video and you can see it. Um, there's definitely some interesting dynamics with serial killers and their siblings. I was saying that I think people tend to separate them as like these are all the good siblings and that's the bad egg or whatever, the bad seed. But it's much more complicated than that. Like, we don't really know a lot about, like, there are some serial killers who have full on siblings that do not want to talk about it and aren't in the public. And why is that? We don't fucking know. So their siblings could be totally messed up in a totally different way. Maybe they're not killing people, but they could be Amber Heard. I've mentioned her a few times and I did put her on this list. This fucking woman. Um I don't know what her parents were really like. I think they grew up on like kind of a ranch and her parents were like mostly well off. I don't think they were like filthy rich or anything, but there are stories of Amber Heard beating up her sister. Can trauma be passed on? Not in the sense of like memories. Like traumatic memories aren't going to be passed on, but when you have trauma and stress, it like will raise cortisol levels and like it can flood your body and it can impact how a fetus develops, you know, and that kind of thing. So it's more inadvertent, or there's more a system of the trauma passing on. But when some people say can trauma be passed on, they mean like memories. But yeah, like it will affect your hormone levels. It will affect how you develop in the womb, stuff like that. Um, and also, like, is your while you're developing in the womb, is your mother under stress? Is she experiencing trauma? Whether, like, if you have a mom who's like fucking nuts, like Gary Michael Heidnick's mom, crazy woman, crazy. There's a story about her, and both of her kids, Gary and the serial killer, and his brother Terry, were both schizophrenic, or at least they say so. They're both crazy though. Um, their mom was such a clean freak. She was worse than Howard Hughes, and if someone was smoking in the house, she would literally be like wiping the ashtray clean every time they like ashed the cigarette because she just couldn't stand for anything to be out of place. And like if you walked in the house and were tracking in dirt or anything, she would grab a broom and start like cleaning it immediately. And that is an expression of an enormous amount of anxiety and like kind of paranoia about cleanliness and germs. So like that definitely influenced the two sons that she had. The parents are so dysfunctional. The dad was super racist. Like he didn't even want his kids listening to rock music because a lot of the singers were black. Like that's actually part of a interview that's like is actually like a quote that he said when Gary Michael Heidnick's brother was interviewed. Crazy. Oh, you're talking about Israel Keys's parents. Yeah, well, I'm not a religious person, but I grew up very religious, and I think that some people need it. I think that religion creates a structure for people, and I think that some people need it. Oh, that was the top. God, I like can't keep up with this. I need a mediator. um, yeah, people are complicated. Oh, the topic I forgot was Israel Keys' parents. I think I put this link in the description of the Israel Keys documentary, but the Church of Wells, where his mom and one of his sisters is at now, is a fucking cult. And the pastor has been arrested multiple times. Like there are a ton of videos on YouTube of this fucking pastor being arrested for harassing people about like proselytizing to them, but like in a violent way. Interesting strategy. But if you go to the Church of Wells website and go to their little search icon, just type in Israel Keys. The entire audio of Israel Keys' funeral is on the site. And it definitely gives you an idea of like what they're dealing with. Oh, Gary Heidnik. Yeah. Oh my God. You know, people talk about the hole that he dug in the basement um, on Marshall Street, but he lived in a place before and no one really talks about this. People think the timeline, like he moved into this new house and kind of like went nuts. I don't know why people think that. Like people are so complicated. I don't understand the like one-dimensional views of people and why they do things. But he had dug a hole in the old house too. And his neighbors went in afterward and after he moved and found it. So his crimes might have like clearly were before that. He like specifically preyed on black women, which I thought was interesting because his dad was so fucking racist. And his mother, they divorced, and his mother then she married a black man. She was dating some black men, and his dad couldn't stand it. And his dad came to visit Gary one time, and Gary, his type was black women who are mentally disabled, which is so bizarre. It's it's shitty, but it's also like weird because like does that count as being racist? Like he clearly internalized some of the racism, right? He said that he like mentally ill women because they were easier to dominate, and he thought that dating black women that they would be more subservient or obedient. And I mean, that just sounds like bullshit. I think it's very individual per person. But I think that, I don't know, his dad came to visit him one time. He like surprised him. And saw that he was living with a black woman who he ended up having a kid with. And his dad completely disowned him. Like he would not speak to him again. That was the last time they talked. The next thing his dad heard, he had been arrested for murder. But yeah, I read Marshall Street. Yeah, the church was on Marshall Street. The United Church of the Ministers of God. The United Church of the Ministers of God. Yeah, he used that as a way to, the church services were in his home, and he would have church services while he had these women in his basement. Crazy. And this essentially was a way for him to get tax exempt because he was super into the stock market, and apparently he had become very wealthy. He had amassed about $500,000 by the time that he was arrested, just from trading, basically. And So he didn't want to pay taxes on all of that. So he created this church. So was he religious? No. Not that anyone asked. But yeah, this is my favorite mug. Look how cute this is. I just love dogs. That's pretty much everything that I had on here to talk about. And it's been like 2.5 hours. So I do want to add that if you have any questions about Delia Day, then go to this link. I'm going to send it in the thingy. And it's in the description of this video. Go to this link. It lists the times that I will be doing the 2 live streams for the Ask Me Anything About the Delia Day case. And remember, this case isn't anywhere. It is exclusive to Murder Pop. So check that out. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll add them to the list to make sure I can get everyone's questions if you can't come to the live stream. And yeah, get my book, help me make a documentary, and you can get the book by subscribing to murderpm.com. And if you want 15% off for as long as you remain a subscriber, go to this discount link. It expires July 4th. Yeah, that's, if you want to subscribe, then that is 15% off. Oh, Jeff, is that how you found my videos? Like, I'm so curious who hasn't known about the Delia Day case for a while, because she amassed like a huge cult following. And I'm like so fucking curious after the fact, because I read so many, like there was like a main team of sleuths online who basically researched the Delia Day case, because the police did nothing. The police did nothing, literally. It's insane. Like, they couldn't have cared less. They did not give a shit. Actually, they did not give a shit is an actual quote from Travis's brother. It's insane. But yeah. Trying to see if I missed anything. Jeff, I don't know if you've looked at the Delia section on Murder PM, but there are tons of articles. And if you're subscribed, then you can see obviously all this stuff past the paywall. And there are like photos, audio recordings, sections from the book. I put a page of the autopsy report. There's some, actually this part might not be out yet, but I have sections of Susan's conversations with police. So if you subscribe, you can go check all of that out. And remember, your subscription comes with the book. So when it's done, it will literally be sent right to your email. So yeah, you're basically getting a book and a subscription in one. These are the Delia articles. Good night, Dues Tattooer. I really want a new tattoo. I love tattoos. I want so many. Yes. Oh my God. Heidnik did that. Dudes, you said the dollar bills taped to the walls. That shit was crazy. So it was money, and also he took pennies. Like he covered like the kitchen in like he glued pennies to the wall. Honestly, I think that would kind of look cool, but when you find out that someone's like a serial kidnapper and murderer, like it kind of taints their artwork. You know what I mean? Thank you so much. I'm really glad that you enjoy it. I want to make a docu series about Delia. Like, yeah, that's my goal, to get a production deal so I can make this documentary. Because like it's a story that really should be told. There are so many assumptions about it, and I have to say, like 99% of the things people think about the Delia Day case, like not including what is on Murder PM, but it's wrong. Like there's been this like narrative out there about it, and it's just not accurate. Anyways, you guys are all so great. Please subscribe to Murder PM to help support me. And I'm going to end the live stream. Don't forget, tomorrow at noon, Israel Key's video that is about a research rabbit hole I went down will be on YouTube. So I really want to know what you think about it. Seriously, thank you everyone for showing up. And yeah, I really enjoyed talking to you guys. I love talking about this, and I have like no friends in like the real world. I have like a couple maybe. And I like never leave my house. So I like being able to like talk to people about all this stuff. But yeah. Good night, Scott. Good night, everybody. Bye.